Hey Prime Timers, what's going on? It's Dominic the Prime Time Treasure Hunter. Thanks for coming by to check out another video. It is the start of a new month, September 2019. It's Labor Day today. A great day to just kick back, relax, and reflect back on the prior month's top 10 most expensive and most profitable items that sold in my eBay store. We actually have one item this month that's sold in the $1,000 range. It's the second straight month where every single item in the top 10 list sold for at least something in the $100 range. In fact, the lowest priced item in the top 10 list is a $150 item, which I'm going to jump into right here. It's the PlayStation 2 Slim console. There it is right there. It's got 19 games. We've got 3 controllers. We have 2 memory cards. We also have the wires that help hook up the system. Now, I've had at least one person reach out to me and tell me that they have struggled selling PlayStation 2 consoles. I also had someone tell me in the comment section of the video where I sourced this, kind of laughing at me, actually telling me that my estimated maximum price for this was nowhere close to what it would sell, and that maybe the console was worth like 25, 35 bucks and the games stunk because most of them were sports games. And that's true that there are a lot that are sports games, and it's also true that sports games are the least desirable ones unless you have the current year, which you're usually not going to find when you're at garage sales. So that can make it tricky, but there are a lot of good titles in here as well besides sports ones. You could see Grand Theft Auto. There's a bunch of those in there. There's some game show games like Jeopardy isn't that great, but there's some other things besides sports games in there. Not too many, but the thing that we have here that plays to our advantage is that it is a PlayStation 2 console, and that's a less bulkier, sleeker console that a lot of players prefer that go back and do retro gaming. For size reference here, if you look at the regular standard PlayStation 2 console, you could see it's a much bulkier console. It's also going to be more expensive to ship it because it is heavier and it's going to take a bigger box to ship it, and it's just bulkier, takes up more space, that sort of thing. So if I see a PlayStation 2 console, I'm much more excited than if I see the standard version. The other thing that is good about it that can enhance your ability to sell it is that it actually works. Now, I plugged it in before I left to make sure that the power went on, and I like to show that in my pictures. Here you could see me showing that the actual controllers do turn on, so you could see I have the power on right there. And very, very important, connect it and show that the system actually works. So if you're struggling selling some video game consoles, one of the things you could do is this. This really helps sell it. Another thing people like to see is inside the console. So these are one of those items, especially if you get these bulk purchases, that people want to see more pictures. You don't necessarily have to take 12 pictures, but they like to see it. Look how I'm displaying everything. Everything is nice and streamlined. Nothing is messy and disorganized. Very, very important when you're trying to make a professional presentation. Even the cords, you could see, I have them nice and laid out. I have some of them tied up with a band there. They're just, they're just not all wiry and all over the place. And another thing that some video game retro players like to look at is the serial number of the game. So they like to check things out related to that. There's some serial numbers that they're looking for more than others. So, there's a whole collectibles market out there devoted, as you know, just to video games. And for some, again, the serial number is important. And even that initial picture that you take, try to show as much as you can. And here I have everything showing. So all of these are things that can help you get that price. Now, it sat for about a month or so, but eventually I got $150. And what I said in the video is that the maximal value for this system and this many games would be $199.99. And that's maximal. Part of that does depend on the games, and these games again aren't the greatest, but still $150 isn't that far off from $200. And so I feel that for a $25 pickup, this was a great sale. Did not cost much to ship out, by the way. I believe this went out with FedEx It did. It went out with FedEx Smart Post, so it wound up shipping for like $10. Really was not bad at all. So overall, very nice return on investment. So let's move on to the number 9 item. This one I just sold the other day. This is XMen number 96. It is the first appearance of Moira McTaggart, who is considered now one of the most, if not the most powerful mutant in the series. And so, these books have taken on much more importance due to the popularity of the Marvel movies. And I have been recently going through a collection of old X-Men comics that I got from the Got Junk Guy. If you don't know about the Got Junk Guy, I'm not going to repeat all of that here. He's a guy who does estate clearouts, and essentially, he contacted me when valuable items that he picked out of these different estates built up in a trailer, and he asked me to come by and pick a lot of things out. And I told him I liked comic books and asked him if he if he had any, and I came back a second time and he brought back this big box, and this is some of the comic books you're going to see are actually in this video. So these early X-Men, you can find these early X-Men's, even the low 100s and back. There are some really, really valuable titles in there. This one I took a best offer of $110. You could see I had it up for $150, but I really don't even have anything into this anymore at this point. So this is all profit minus fees and shipping. So old X-Men books, something to definitely be on the lookout for, and they're not impossible to find, by the way. I mean, we're only talking 1975. I mean, yes, that is over 40 years ago, but still, I mean, we're not talking 1930s, 1940s, 1960s even. In 1975, in comic book land, isn't really considered super old at this point. So, but still very desirable book. Another item that you're going to see here, and this is one that I wound up getting from that big train collection that I purchased at the estate sale. If you want to see me source this, go to the video called Picking Under Pressure. There were some Lionel trains there, and there were some LGB trains. LGB, if you do not know, that is definitely one that you want to look for. They are very popular. These big, giant, oversized trains and trolleys sell very well. You want to make sure that you could show all the different parts that move. If anything expands like this, make sure you display that. It's very important when you're displaying trains and trolleys that you show all of the sides. So you could see here, I've got a front, I've got a back, I've got both sides. You want to get a picture of the bottom as well, and you also want to get a picture of the box. So make sure you show the box, because collectors like that as well. If there's any flaws, like a paint scratch or anything like that, make sure that you list that. Don't think that that's not going to be something that sells just because it has a scratch on it. People could just repair that, put a little paint on it, whatever, or they may just live with it if it's a really cool item. This one actually went out through the global shipping program to France. I took a best offer of $160. All profit at this point. After I made back all of my money from all of those trains that I purchased when I made a $600 sale for one of the sets. If you don't remember, I bought all of the trains and all of the estate sale contents that day for $432, and there was about 16 different trains and trolleys. So this is the next one. This one sold, buy it now for that price, $185. Importantly, these Mad magazines sold to somebody with no feedback. So I did a video on this in terms of selling things to people with no feedback. There are many people, some in fact watching this, who have their settings set that they won't sell to anyone with no feedback. Now that's up to you. If you want to do that, that's fine. It just will restrict the number of people that will buy things from you. Remember, not everyone with zero feedback is someone who's trying to commit some kind of scam on you. In fact, a lot of people who are buying from you, who are people that would find your item and have zero feedbacks, they're people who are doing exactly this right now. They're going to Google and they're typing in something like Mad magazines, and maybe they type in lot because they're interested in it. And when they do a search, look what comes up: eBay, eBay. Oh, that's Hip Comics. Sorry. But 4 of the 5 are eBay listings right there. Now, if you're doing that search, if you're looking for a gift or something like that, you click on it, you try to buy it, you want to get it as a present for somebody, you don't have an eBay account, you're just starting out, and you find that you can't purchase it now because the person has a restriction on you, well, you just lost the sale. So now, it may be that someone else comes by who has feedback and can purchase it from you, but I have never, ever had a scam or a return or anything like that for anyone who's purchased from me with 0 feedback. Sure, it can happen, but my suggestion would not let one bad experience knock out every single person with 0 feedback. Because again, eBay's really trying to market itself out there and get more people to expand its base. And so you're gonna have people that have to start out somewhere. And so open the doors to them. They may even come back if they had a great, think about it. If their first experience was a great experience with you, chances are they may come back again. So in terms of the items, you've seen me, if you've watched my haul videos before, talk about these. But these Mad magazines, they are quite valuable. I sourced a lot of them at the beginning of this year. You may remember me getting some of them at the flea market. I got some, if you remember, at estate sales. I got some at other places as well, from comic conventions. There's all sorts of places where I pick these up. I try to get them for $1 or less. And you can see here, it's a very high yield return on investment, even if they have damage. Do a big overhead shot like this, like I do with the comic books, and then zoom in on them as well. And again, this is what I want to point out to you. With Mad magazines, it's one of these things where they are expected to be damaged. Look at that. We've got tears, we've got corner bends, we've got abrasions on it, we've got rips. It really doesn't matter with Mad magazines. Sure, if they were in better condition, would they sell for a higher price? Yes, but they're still going to sell for a really, really nice price. If you could find ones, what you're looking for are ones from ideally the 50s, because that's when it came out, as the 50s. Those are hard to find, but more reasonably, you could find ones from the 70s and the 80s and the 60s. I generally stay away from ones in the 90s. I may sprinkle one in here or there. I don't even do anything with the ones in the 2000s. So be careful on them in terms of which decade you pick up from. But try and assemble a big lot. Even if you only find 1 or 2 that you could pick up for $1 here and there, put them to the side, build up a lot, and then when you get enough of them, put them together, and I guarantee you that they are going to sell at some point. You may have to wait a month or so, but someone's going to come by and purchase them, and you're going to get almost instantly, you're going to get a bunch of watchers on them that same day. So that's the Mad magazines. By the way, Mad magazine is no longer being printed. They announced that this year, so that's going to make these issues even more desirable. So always be on the lookout for those. Now, another thing I'm going to show you here is a few Star Wars toys that sold. This is the creature cantina from the Star Wars bar scene, that famous scene here. I love this piece. It's so cool. It's got this nice little cardboard display in the back. You can see here we've got the stickers on there. The actual base is in really good condition. The box is in great shape as well. This comes from that haul that many of you remember when I went into the crawl space and found all of those old vintage Star Wars toys in the box. They are selling so well. This one sold for $210, so it took a best offer. Just amazing. All profit at this point. This one actually put me in profit. I bought all the Star Wars toys excepting the figures for $120. The figures I found later and picked up for an additional price. But in terms of the play sets and everything and the vehicles, if you could find these old 70s, 80s Star Wars items, playsets, vehicles in the box, you're gonna be in a good situation as long as they're mostly complete. And if they're missing parts, you could go online and buy parts, and often it's worth the money to just go out, invest a little bit in to make your set complete, and then if you have the box especially, you could sell it for top of the market prices. So this is one of the things I like doing on this channel with you, is showing you things from sourcing all the way up to selling. So I feel like that's the best way I could help, is by showing the complete process from start to finish. This is one that I showed in one of my recent videos where I had a $700 day, and this is one of the items that contributed to it. It's Boba Fett's Slave One. That's a name you should know if you're not familiar with some of the Star Wars vernacular. Maybe you kind of casually watch the movies, but two names you definitely need to write down are Slave One and also Boba Fett, who you could see right there to the bottom left. He is a mercenary bounty hunter who captures Han Solo. One of the cool things they have in this set is that little frozen Han Solo in the back in the carbonite. It's that black thing that the stormtroopers are carrying. So that's cool. That has that. You can see here we've got the instructions and everything, the box. It's great. This one sold for full price, $240. Now, one of the things that I did with this item, and I'm looking, it's over there, I can't reach it, but I did invest a little bit in this to make it complete, because one of the things that I found when I opened it up is that this cargo door here was missing, and it also was missing the frozen Han Solo carbonite black slab in the back. So I was looking to replace the cargo door, and when I just typed in cargo door, I kept, for Slave One, I kept finding, $35, $40 to get just the door, which I didn't want to pay for that. So then I just looked up Slave One. I just made a very general search, and that came up with these two wings right here. So you see there's a wing there in the front and kind of a lighter gray, and that's also present here. You can see it here. So it had actually three of the wings. It had those, and it also had the cargo door. Well, guess what? The wings itself, two wings, sell for about $14, and then you could sell probably a single wing for around $10 to somebody who just needed one. So that would be around $24 just for the wings. Well, the guy was selling three wings plus the cargo door for $23.99. So I purchased that, and I'm going to be able to just sell off those wings and make back what I purchased the wings plus the cargo door for. So I feel like I replaced the cargo door for free, and then all I needed to do was get this piece right here. There was someone offering it for $24.99, so I made a best offer of $19.99 or $20. $20 actually, and the person accepted it. So I invested a total, once I sell all those pieces, will be $20 into the piece to sell it for $240. If I didn't have the cargo door and I didn't have this Han Solo piece, I would have been definitely in the low to mid $100 range on this item. So this is again what I talk about. It's important sometimes to invest into the pieces, and don't always be so concrete and literal that you're just narrowing your search down for the specific piece. Sometimes if it's too expensive, branch out, and you might find someone selling that same exact piece mixed in with a lot of other toy pieces that could be much more economical for you, and you could even make your money back on it. So that's that one there. Then we've got this one here, the Millennium Falcon. This was a great piece. Very excited to sell this one. Came in the original box here. The box had some wear to it, but not too bad overall. You can see here we got a little close up. I did a video on me cleaning this one. This one sold for full price, $280. Also shipping internationally. This one going to Malaysia, I believe. You could see here's a little bit of deformation to the box on the top, but it doesn't really matter with something of this age. People are just happy to find a box. If you could zoom up on dates, that's important as well. The back of the box looks great here. The top again is deformed, but this the main thing is that this back part right here is is showing nicely. And also, if you could give a peek of inside the toy and show what that looks like, these are good strategies. And you can see here I have it decorated, and then I have it not decorated. So here's a close-up of the actual year, not only outside the box but inside the actual toy. So these are all little things I like to do to try to help increase the chance that I'm going to make the sale. So that's a $280 sale right there. This one here, actually, I should have reversed it. So my fault. This one actually should be back here. So this one should be number 7, and this one here should be number 8, because this one here actually sold for $260. I did take a best offer on that. I forgot about that. These Lionel trains, these O trains, most of the trains that Lionel sells, by the way, are in the O series, so it's this big oversized series. The Amtrak Amfleet cars, if you ever see them, to the layperson, I think they're going to look kind of boring. Like, they don't look super exciting. Like, compared to the LGB train or trolley that I showed you earlier, like this one at least, has some pizzazz to it. It's got the people in it. It's got some nice stickers out the outside. It's got like a foreign language on there. It's really pretty cool. But this piece over here, sorry, I jumped ahead to another item. But this one over here, looks kind of plain. But it's highly desirable because it is a Lionel train, and it's an oversized Lionel train, and people like it, for their collections. Again, same strategy, making sure you're showing all the different parts of the train. Again, this one is a highly desirable one. It's in great shape, has instructions, doesn't matter if they're crinkled. And zoom in on this part too, which is this little sticker part that actually shows details, with the model number and all that stuff. Just verifying for people that everything with it is legit and in good shape. Now this one, which I gave you a little sneak preview for, again, that's the second month in a row I've given you that little sneak preview on that item. But this one here, XMen number 94. This one sold for $475, so almost a $500 comic book sale. Again, from 1975. This is issue, like I said, 94. It's relevant because it is the second appearance of the new X-Men. So that is very important. I'm going to show you the first appearance of the new X-Men in a moment. But this book is in pretty decent shape. I have it as a very fine, which is one level below near mint. Some of the things I like to do with regards to my comic display, I definitely am going to show obviously the cover. I also like to show a side view because collectors who are going to pay this much money are definitely going to want to see what the spine looks like. You definitely need to include the back cover for these more expensive issues. Make sure you show the opening page as well, often called a splash page. Right here we have one panel showing all these different things, and then show something inside as well. That just gives a nice view of of two pages that have something related to the comic. What I mean by that is, as opposed to a picture that has one panel of comic related stuff and then another one that has advertisements. Unless it's a really cool vintage advertisement, like one X-Men that I opened up recently. I showed a picture of the inner flap, which I would have shown anyway, but it was an advertisement for the showing, the first ever showing of King Kong. So that was pretty cool to show that. But if you have a cool ad, by all means show it, but try to also show a page or a panel where you have two pages side by side that have the comic book in it, just like that. So over here, this is the number one item. This is $1,250. I did a whole separate video on it, so I won't go in it in a ton of detail. But this is a Holy Grail comic, giant size X-Men number 1. All these X-Men comics that you see here today, I did get from the Got Junk guy who cleared out the estate sale. And I give you a bunch of tips on how you can find big ticket items like this in one of my more recent videos. Just go check it out. It shows this right on the cover of the video. So this is the first appearance of the new X-Men, which you could see right here. If this was in near mint condition and graded, I mean, this book could go up to, $7,000 or more. So, if it was officially certified and a plastic slab and all that stuff. This isn't. It's got some damage here to the top. It does have some damage here to the spine. It's also bowed a little bit. This is not just manufacturing defect. I did have someone comment and say that's what they thought, this was just manufacturing. I don't agree with that. This is also, maybe some of it is, but I think that also part of this is a handling issue. But anyway, it just goes to show that even if there's damage on some of these collectible items, they will still or can still sell for very high dollar amount. So I hope that this video has motivated you. More and more of you have reached out to me telling me you are looking into making some comic purchases and reselling some of those. So just if you want to get into that area and you haven't done it before, just start off small and then start working your way up from there. Vintage trains, another great item to look for, as I showed. The old Star Wars toys are great as well. And video game consoles, these are all big ticket items that you could flip for big money, and you don't have to spend a ton of money to get it. Yes, the thing that I spent the most money for that you see here are all of the trains that I told you. I spent $430 for that and all the estate sale contents. But it's really not a big deal if you know that you're going to be able to make $600 from one of the train sets. So it's a no-brainer. And then everything after that is additional profit. So hope that you found this video helpful. If so, make sure that you hit the like button, give it a big thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet. Pass it on to others who you feel could benefit from these bigger ticket items and learning some more about them, especially people who are interested in getting more into comic books and other collectibles. Make sure you come to the Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. The link to that is right down below in the description section, as well as my Instagram account. That's at prime_time_treasure. See you back at the next video, everyone. Take care.